All right. Go for it, Tati.
All right, guys. So we went over what the host's screen would look like. So these are the differences, which is going to be security, the participants, polling, breakout rooms, and a couple other different things. So we showed you guys how to basically do the breakout rooms. You can assign, you can have Zoom assign or split them up. You can do it yourself, or you can let the participants on your Zoom choose. So that was one of the things. And then it goes deeper into it. And then we went over polling and what kind of questions you can add, whether you want to do multiple choice or if you want to do like A, B, and C. You'll create your questions and you can create a poll to where you make it before your meeting, and then you can just automatically do it. It'll automatically come up, and then here's how, let's see. Oh, these are the different ones. Like if, again, multiple choice or just different, like what the results are looking like on your end as a host. And we went over transcriptions and how that works and how to get that done for the people who need it. And I believe we were able to, weren't we able to save it to our computer as well? Are we going to go over that? Did we go over that? Yeah, right?
Yeah, but we're just doing a quick recap.
Okay. So we went over the transcriptions and how to do that, and the different security options that we have, so that way no Zoom bombing happens. It's scary if you ever gone through that. And how to file share, which Sinclair practiced today already. Thank you. And the reports on your Zoom account. Some more reports, how to get through that, and how to export them from Zoom, how to look for them, and what kind of time range you'll have to do. More reports, you can download them. Okay, and then when you assign a co-host, you can let them, you can give them like the free range. It's up to you if you want to let, if you want them to host and what they can do. There's a lot of different things, the breakout rooms, the different features at letting people in, and then the security features as well. All right, is that still me? So today we're gonna go over part 3, and I believe.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Yes.
Cool. So for part 3, we're going to be focusing on how to schedule a meeting, settings, reporting, or different reports, or no, we cover reports, live streaming, and also adding a video to the waiting room. And so as a part of what we'll be covering today, we have a mix of folks covering different things. So we'll move to going into our first piece, and take it away.
All right, guys, so I'll be going over this on how to schedule a meeting. So you do have different meeting options if, again, when you're the host. So you have the option to enable join before host. So like if people get there before you are able to allow that. And then you can have an option to mute all the participants right when they're allowed into the meeting. So that way it kind of takes away any just background noise that we don't need. It's too loud. Sometimes people are like in different spaces. So if you want to just have that quiet, that's an option. You can add a waiting room. That way you have to let them in. And then only authenticated users can join. That's another option. So I believe, was that like when people sign up for that? Is that what that authenticated one meant?
Like they have to have an actual Zoom account in order to join.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, the actual Zoom account. And another option was to record the meeting automatically. That way, say if you're a teacher or professor or something and you want to save that for students who maybe missed a lecture, you're able to record the meeting automatically and save it, and you can post it somewhere if that's something that works out for you guys. I know my professor does that for us, even though his lectures are like a year old, we can tell. So we have some questions. Does join before host work if waiting room is enabled? I don't believe so. I think that it kind of like contradicts it, right?
Right. If you have a waiting room, they're going to be in the waiting room and they won't be in until you allow them.
Mhm.
If you do enable join before host, then even if you're running late, whenever they join the meeting, they're going to be on and the meeting will be started.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, and then we have another question.
What link is schedule a meeting? What link is schedule a meeting?
What link?
To answer your question, so once the meeting is scheduled, it'll generate a link, and that will be the link that you would share to your classroom or your participants in the meeting.
Are you going to show us how to schedule a meeting?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, thank you. You can go to the next one, Melissa. Oh, sorry, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we go into reoccurring meetings. So once I show you all how to do the reoccurring meeting, we can schedule a meeting so you all see what that would be like. So when it comes to reoccurring meetings, so do you need to schedule a Zoom meeting to reoccur on a regular basis? So say like for like a classroom, this is perfect for like classrooms or for work meetings that happen daily or on a weekly basis. And this can be done in 3 places. So it could be done on the Zoom app on your desktop. It could be done on the Zoom website, or it could be done on Zoom mobile. We won't talk about Zoom mobile since in my experience, majority of people join Zoom mobile on their phone when they're like in traffic, leaving work or leaving school to their next destination. So we won't talk about that one. But this is what it looks like if you are trying to schedule a meeting on the Zoom app from your desktop. So what it'll look like is it'll be like this first screenshot. This is what the first window will come up. You will click on schedule. Once you click on schedule, select schedule, this next screenshot will pop up. And this is where you will schedule your meeting if you're using the Zoom app. So if you notice, so the topic, it has the topic. What you would do to create a reoccurring meeting, you would simply click this. But if you notice here at the bottom, it says, remember to check the reoccurrence or repeat in your choice calendar invitation. Something to understand when you're using the Zoom app to schedule a reoccurring meeting is that the Zoom app does not give additional options for this meeting. And from there, you will have to use your you will have to schedule it in your calendar to add that extra information to it. And I wouldn't suggest that because it's a little difficult, and I don't know why all 3 apps, it looks different, it comes up different, but I will highly recommend that you use the Zoom website when you're scheduling a meeting because it's easy, it's simple, and you can do it that way. So with that being said, scheduling from a Zoom website, what you would simply do is just go to my account tab. You will click on my account tab, and then from there you will log in with your login information. And then from there you will click select schedule meeting. So from there, these are actual screenshots from the website. So the Zoom website gives you very clear understanding of the options. So these screenshots from the Zoom website, So if you click on reoccurring, if you notice on these screenshots, it gives you additional information that you can add, as to where on the Zoom app, you weren't able to add like the reoccurrence, whether it was daily or if it was repeat every so many days or an end date, or how many occurrences you want to do it. So from there, once you enter all this information on the website, you will simply click save. And from there, that will generate the invitation link that you will send out to your participants or to your classroom, in which Michelle Arnaga asked. And then to the right, once you schedule that, once you save it at the bottom, once you save it here, this is what it'll look like once you save it. So it'll give you the option to start the meeting once it's time. So this is just a screenshot from our spring institutes that we did. So I did schedule a recurring meeting for these workshops because they were happening every Tuesday and Wednesday for 30 minutes. So if you notice, once I click save, this is what the screen looks like with the reoccurrences scheduled. So I have April 27th from 6:30 to 7, that's 30 minutes. Also, something to mention is when your occurrences are set, you can edit or you can delete the occurrences. So you would click edit to edit the occurrence by date and time, or you could just simply just delete it. Like say, for example, emergency came up and you're not going to have that meeting. You will simply just delete that occurrence and send an email out to your participants and let them know that that meeting was canceled. And also you want to make sure that you give yourself give them ahead of time, enough time to, because you don't want them jumping on expecting a meeting and a meeting's not happening. So I'm going to stop my share and then I'm going to go into Zoom and I will show you all how to schedule a meeting. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the screen from the Zoom website. So as I mentioned, what you would do is simply click on my account. You will log in. So I'm already logged into our South Bay Prevention account. So from there, you will go to right here where it says schedule. So you will schedule a meeting. So this is what Tatiana was talking about, scheduling a meeting. So for the topic, so we're just gonna say our topic is navigating Zoom like a big boss is our topic. So whatever your classroom topic is or your meeting topic is, you want to put that there. Underneath that, you can add a description. So it could be something brief where you say, hey, join us at this time, blah, blah, blah. If there's something like, say, for example, if it's a workshop on how to create a resume, you can add that in a description, like make sure you bring a copy of your resume, like things that you need that they need to prepare for ahead of time. You can add that in the description. So from there, what you would do is say the meeting is on today at 3 o'clock. So our meeting's at 3 o'clock today. The meeting is going to be an hour. You can change that from an hour, or you can change it from 0 hours. Our meeting is going to be only 15 minutes. You can change it by minutes. When you click on to go back to the scheduling the date, you can click on that. It'll open up the calendar. You can select your date. If you need to move forward with the months, you simply just navigate through these. So let's just say our meeting is June 8th. Our meeting's at 3 o'clock on June 8th. You can select whatever time. You would change it from AM or PM. We already went over the duration, so how long this meeting is going to be, classroom's going to be. You could change the time zone. So they have the different time zones there where you can select. So from there, say you want to, so you'll save this meeting basically, or if you want them to register. So registration, like if you want them to have their email address enter, so that would be something that you would set up. So that would be like information like their city, their state, maybe their zip code, their name, their first and last name, their like what you all did for when you register for navigating Zoom like a boss, so that information. So if you want them to register, be required for them to register, you would simply just click that. Michelle Arnaga, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question regarding personal meeting ID. Does every Zoom meeting have to give a personal meeting ID?
So you can generate automatically where they generate it, or you can do a personal meeting ID.
Okay,
So
so So you don't have to always have
no.
it. Okay.
I don't think so, no. So either you can have it where it generates automatically, or you can have it where you set your own personal ID. So that's how you schedule a meeting. I won't save it. I won't go into that. Tatiana talked about the passcode. If you decide to do your own personal meeting ID, select that option. It will select one for you, and only users who have the invite link, once you save this and get the registration link or passcode, those are the only people that can join the meeting. So sometimes people share the link, and that's how you see names double when they join the meeting. And then also the waiting room, as Tatiana mentioned, it's great to have a waiting room. So say, for example, if you have presenters or you're a teacher and you're not ready at, say, our meeting started at 2 o'clock today and we're not ready at 2 o'clock. So that allows the participants to wait in the waiting room until you're ready to start. And if you don't have this check, they'll be able to automatically join the meeting. So if you're on and you're trying to prepare ahead of time, and you don't have the waiting room enabled, then people will just enter and be on with you. So you'll see them, they'll see you. And then also require authentication to join. Tatiana talked about that. So let's go into setting a reoccurring meeting. So reoccurring meeting. So when you set a reoccurring meeting, just like I mentioned, when you're scheduling meeting, you'll put your topic, your description, if you have one, the date, the time. So let's go down the time zone. So we're going to select reoccurring meeting. So as I mentioned, when you do it from the website, the Zoom website, it's easier to understand, because if you do it on the app, you don't get all these options. So if you click reoccurring meeting, you have the option of when you want to do it. If you want to do it daily, if you want to do it weekly, if this classroom is going to happen weekly or monthly, or there's no fixed time, you have the option of entering one of these. So we're going to say our thing is happening daily. How many days do we want this to repeat? Let's say we want it to repeat twice. And then end date, what you want to do by the end date. So say if this is a classroom that is set to end on June 20th, our thing started on June 8th and our class is set to end on June 20th, you will simply click the end date of the class, or you can simply click after so many occurrences, and then it would just close it out. And then from there, what you would do is save it. So we saved our meeting, and then to go back to Michelle Arnaga's question, so this would be the invite link that you would simply copy this invitation. You would simply press copy meeting invitation. You just close it out, and then from there, that's where you will send that invitation to your classroom, to your participants, and whatnot, for them to join the meeting. So as you see, scrolling down, we have every 2 days, 7 occurrences. We can click right here and it'll show all your meetings that you have scheduled. So every 2 days, 7 occurrences. So that's June 8th, June 10th, and so forth. Our meeting time is at 3 p.m. The duration of this meeting, they'll be on for 15 minutes, and we have a choice of editing this meeting. So maybe we want to change this, instead of the 8th, we could change it to the 9th. I'm not available the 9th, but we're going to change it to the 8th. So we're going to change it to the 9th at 3 o'clock. And let's make this meeting maybe 15 minutes more. So 30 minutes more, we would save it. So as you see with the changes, let's show our occurrences. It changed to June 9th, 3 o'clock, and it's for 30 minutes. So that's just that one. So say, for example, I don't want to have that meeting. You know what? I decided I'm just not going to have it the 8th or the 9th. So we'll just pick back up on the 10th. I could simply just delete it. And then from there, it'll show you your occurrences. And then you have the option to recover this meeting, even though you deleted it. So you have the option to recover it. So as you see, your meeting has been recovered. So the meeting has been re-added. And then say if you wanted to add another session, we didn't get done on June 20th. So we wanted to add another date to this. So we want to do June 21st, 3 o'clock again. And then we want to say this meeting is an hour. So simply, you would just save it. So as you see, June 21st is added to it. So you'll have your passcode, you'll have your waiting room, you're having your invitation link. But as I mentioned, if you do the registration, it will say registration link. And from there, as the same as the invite link, you will copy the registration link and you will send it out to people. And just as you all register for today's workshop, they will register for the classroom or whatever meeting that you all have scheduled. And then these are the meeting options that Tatiana covered already. And then there you have it. That's how you schedule a reoccurring meeting. And I will stop my share. And Michelle or Naga, you had your hand up.
Yeah, when you fill in the description under the topic, do you recommend, especially the first day, for them to sign in with their full name and their email under chat so that I could save the chat information and there wouldn't be any question if someone should miss information, that I would at least have their name and email address saved. Do you recommend that for the description?
I think the description mainly, like, say, for example, if we're having like navigating Zoom like a boss, like how we have today, my description, for example, would be like, join us today to learn how to navigate Zoom like a big boss. Learn how to share your screen, learn blah, 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 blah. Like the details of the meetings, short, simple, nothing very lengthy. But if putting their names in the chat, first and last name in the chat, works best for you in keeping record of who's there, I would say do that. But as we mentioned last week in reports, you can get a list of everybody that's on there. But if that works best for you, I would definitely say utilize the chat, have them put their first and last name. And as we mentioned, you can download the chat and have all that information saved.
The reason why
real quick, Michelle. So just for clarification's sake, the description and them putting their first and last name and emails in the chat are two different things. So this description is specific to scheduling a meeting and having a description available for people who come to register, to be able to see this is what this thing is about. Now, if you were to use the chat box for sign in, for instance, you could absolutely do that. It's your prerogative. And then you just go and you download your chat and you're good to go. So whatever works for you in regards to any kind of sign in you want to do, feel free to go ahead and do that. But just want to make the distinction. Those are two different things.
Okay.
Thank you, Jen, for that. So any other questions before we move forward?
Yeah, we had some questions in the chat. So Kim asked, sorry, I got to scroll back. Pros and cons of auto meeting versus auto meeting ID versus personal. I don't know if you ladies have any input. The only thing that I've heard is if you use your personal, then people have access to that and they could always jump back into your Zoom at any time. So if that would be a concern for you versus auto meeting, it's going to be different every time. Do you ladies have anything to add to that?
Nope, I second that. That is the number one reason. So it's better to just have it generated with your personal meeting ID, Zoom, that's identifies you, right? That is a personal meeting ID. If you have a regular meeting that you have maybe with your board members or like folks that you know and trust, you could easily use your personal meeting ID. But in my opinion, is there really a need for you to use your personal meeting ID when you could easily just create a recurring meeting and it will always be that same meeting ID for every single meeting with that same passcode and whatever the case may be.
And then pros and cons of registering. So pros is extra security if it's something that you're going to be publicizing to the public. Oh, that sounded weird. Going to be sharing with the public, anybody and everybody can come. I would definitely put registration on. And when we talk about Zoom bombing in part 4, you'll see why. And also gathering that information. So Michelle, to your point of wanting to get the info, I think it would be good to include registration. That way you can ask whatever questions for the information you want to gather. Obviously, you will already get name and email, but you can add like location info if they have questions. different things like that. So I do really like having registration, and that way you also have an idea of who plans to come. If it's a recurring meeting, you can give the option for them to register once and they can come to any session, or they can register individually for the different sessions as well. So I find it very, very useful. Cons would be, it's an extra step. Some people don't realize the link that you sent out is for registration. So when you don't have anybody registered, you start your meeting, and then all of a sudden you're getting all these registrations because they just realized they clicked that link to start the meeting, if that makes sense. So they thought it was to start the meeting, but really it was to register. So a lot of people don't realize that. Anything to add to that, ladies? And then Edwina asks, how long do you have to recover a deleted meeting? Which is a great question because I don't know.
7 days.
Yeah, you have 1 week after you delete it to recover it. So you have 7 days.
All right, I think that's all the questions we had in the chat.
All right, so moving forward.
Oh, did we duplicate?
Yeah.
All right. So settings, settings super important.
Sorry, Melissa, before you continue, are we going to focus on customizing registration first before we go into the settings? Erica, do we want to do that right now?
Sure.
Okay. So what Erica will do is pull up the Zoom account and go into one of the Zooms and then show you all how to customize the registration before Melissa talks about some of the setting functions and things that you all can do with that. So this way we can just keep that whole section together as opposed to breaking it up.
Okay, just give me a second.
And then again, if you all have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand and we'll call on you so that way you can be asked. And so I also want to say too, I know some folks have been reaching out like, hey, this has been really helpful. I learned some new things. So hopefully you all continue to learn a lot of new things as we continue to navigate Zoom like big bosses. So Erica is going to now go over customizing your registration.
Okay, so registration, you all are able to see my screen, correct? So if I wanted to do the registration, so so if I want to customize the registration, what I would do is basically go into the registration. So what happen once you click on registration and edit the registration, it'll come up as approval. So it'll say automatically approve people. So this is registrants with the registrants will automatically receive information on how to join the meeting. Manually approve is where, say for example, if I'm the host and I scheduled the meeting, and say for example, if I have an age group from 18 to 20 years of age, and anybody after 20 years of age, so if they're 21, 22, I have the option to manually approve them to allow them to join the meeting, or just simply say, hey, like the age is 18 to 20, we just want to keep it at that. So with automatically approving, they can automatically be approved to join the meeting, or manually is if you want to take extra steps to, like, say, for example, that age category, if they're outside of that, you have the option of approving them or not approving them. So then you also have the option of clicking notification, which will send an email to hosts when someone registers. So whenever someone registers for your meeting or your classroom, it will send a email to me as a host or to you as a host, since you're the one that set up the registration. And then there are some additional options. So you can close the registration after the event day. You can restrict number of registrants, how many people that register. So say if you only want 20 people to attend, anybody after that. You can allow attendees to join from multiple devices. So whether it's their MacBook or their phone or their desktop, or you can show social share buttons on the registration page. So you would click these options, you would save all, and then moving on into the questions. So when it comes to registration on Zoom, you have the options. They already have some like pre-stuff already set. So for the registration fields, you can have them put their first name, their email address. That's automatically required. That's required. You can click on if you want to know their city, if you want to know their address, if you want to know their country, the state, if you want to request a phone number from them, say if you want to call them to follow up with anything in regards to the classroom or the meeting, their organization, where they work, their job title, and whatnot. So there's a lot of different options you can click on if you want them to add their organization or their job title. You can click on that. You can also add custom questions. So with create your own questions, you are prohibited from soliciting confidential personal information, just so you know as a heads up. And that information includes like credit card information, social security numbers, asking them to provide that information. So just as a heads up, that is prohibited. So say we wanted to add a new question to the registration. So what we'll do is click either a short answer or a single answer if we want them to do it. We will click on require. So it's required for them to answer that registration question, or we could simply click off of it if it's not required for them to answer. So we will click if it's required, and then we will simply type our question here. Let's say, what do we want to know?
How did you hear about this event?
Yeah. Okay, so we have our question, and it's not tis, it's this event. So we're going to create it. So there you have our question is created. So that's the question we added. So what we would do is save all. And then when it comes to our registration, what we'll do is, let's see. So if we click on the registration, here we have it. So our Spring Institute, if I was registering for our Spring Institute, these are the dates. These are the questions that was generated, whether I clicked on the pre-selected question. So it's first name, last name. If you see the star by it, that means the red star, it means it's required. My email address, the city I'm coming from, my state, organization, which is one that I clicked on to add it, my job title. And then also this is the question, as you see here, the one that I added. How did you hear about this event? So that was the question, the custom question that I added. So as you all did today for navigating Zoom like a boss, well, when you registered, you all had to fill out this form and then simply register, click register, and that's how you were able to get the link to the meeting. So that is basically how you customize your registration for Zoom. And then do we have any questions, or did I cover everything, Jen?
Yeah, can you do me a favor and scroll down on your screen? And then Edwina will get to you one sec. So Erica, click on email settings. So a couple things that people don't realize is that maybe you're the person who has the account, you don't want them to be the email contact or for that email address to be the one that folks see to reach out to. You can easily click edit and you can change the email address. And so as folks register or receive an email, they would get it from whatever that the email address is that's listed on there. And then additionally, you have the ability to edit the confirmation email or a portion of the confirmation email. So if you click edit, you can go to the top, you can edit the subject line. So sometimes what we'll do is edit, we'll remove confirmation and say begins at 9:30 a.m. today, or begins in 1 week, whatever the case may be. And then you have the ability to send that out. If you go to this box, yeah, scroll down. This box right here, you have the ability to type information into that, but just know it's going to come after this other stuff that you see right there. And then Erica, you see on your farthest right side, the scroll down there. So when you scroll all the way down, that's what they're going to see. If you scroll all the way down, you'll click save because you want to save whatever changes or things that you made. Then if you go, say we edited the email piece, instead of saying confirmation, we said begins at 9:30 today. You would go click on registration. You click where it says manage registrants, click view. And then if you click that first box next to registrants, then that can send your email to everyone. Or if you only want it to go to a few people, then you can click on the names that you want it to go to, and then you can click resend confirmation email. And what it's going to do is send what you just created. If you want to cancel someone's registration, then you can also do that there as well. And then something really helpful, say someone says, well, I was registered that day, which we had a lot in 2020. You can go into the search category and you can type in someone's name. So if Erica were to type in Melissa, then let's see if any Melissas pop up. So she's going to click search. And there are no Melissas registered. So if Melissa said, hey, Jen, I was there, I registered, then we could easily search and say, no, girl, you didn't. So Erica, you can click out of that box. And then if you see where it says branding, when you click on branding, you have the ability to upload a banner. So Zoom tells you what size you can upload. And so with the banners, this is to add a nice graphic when you have a registration. When you have registration on your page, you can add a nice graphic. We like to edit it in Canva, make it or create something in Canva similar to the flyer so folks know like this is the same branded type of thing. You can also upload your logo if you're interested in doing that. They have polls and quizzes listed right here as well, which we covered polls last week. So you can easily click these different areas and walk through them and see what kind of stuff you want to add or do and so forth. So with that, we're good to go on customizing registration. And thank you, Erica, for what you shared. And Edwina, feel free to ask your question.
So my question, was with the limit, when you mentioned about the limit, like say it's supposed to be 20 people, I was wondering what message would the person receive if the max has been met? And if they receive like some type of email, do you have the option to customize whatever it is that they're going to receive?
Yeah, so you have the ability on there, if it reaches your max and you have live streaming set up and you live stream the event, you can check a box that says that they will be, if the meeting is to capacity, they would then be directed to view the live stream. So you could definitely do that. As far as what people will see, I'm not sure if Zoom has changed it, because I remember early on in COVID when SAPC was like, we're going to do these meetings and we're going to allow everybody to jump on, not realizing they only have the capacity for 100 people. And we were well over that within the county and not being able to jump on. And then texting our liaison like, hey, I can't get on. And so then I think it was a little like box or something that popped up that said that it was to capacity, but I'm not sure if there's like what the box or what the message looks like now in regards to if someone is able to get on or not. Last year when we did, I think 2 different events, we didn't increase the size, unfortunately, we didn't increase the size of our meetings to accommodate more than 100 people. And so then we received some emails from folks like, hey, I'm trying to get on, but it's not letting me. And then in meeting, we're like, oh, shoot, going to billing and increasing so people could jump on. So hopefully that answers your question. And that is definitely a good question. And I'd say maybe do some research via Zoom to be able to find that. Other questions from folks before Melissa goes into settings? All right, Melissa, take it away.
All right. So settings would be something that you change from the web browser. So if you go to zoom.us and go to your account, you'll see there on the side, the left side, that you have settings down there in blue. And there's different sections. So there's in meeting basic, advanced, email notifications, and all that. So in meeting basic is where you'll find the chat. I know we had a lot of questions about saving the chat. So that's where you can change those settings, whether or not you don't want them to save it or whether you can auto save it for yourself. You can also turn on file transfer or turn it off. Because remember, this is something that's just open to everybody. So if when having those meetings that are open to the public, you want to be careful, or even kids, you know, they can be devious creatures. So you want to be careful about what you're allowing. This is also where you would turn on co-hosting, which is super important. As we know, especially when you're hosting bigger events or workshops on Zoom, it's really helpful to have a co-host. This is also where you would turn on polling and quizzes, and also the end of meeting survey, meaning once we click leave meeting, Zoom will actually pop up on your web browser and you can ask people what they thought about the meeting and get that feedback. You can also adjust screen sharing. So this would be if you want one person to share at a time, host only, if the participants can share, or if multiple people can share at a time as well. And then annotation and whiteboard is also something you would have to turn on. You can get nonverbal feedback. So we all know about our reaction emojis. So that's something you can change. Remote slide control is pretty cool. So for example, right now, Erica is sharing the slides. If we have on remote control, then I could actually start to control the slides for her. So you change it in the settings, but here, while we're in Zoom, I would go up to view options at the top, and then the drop-down menu, I could request remote control from Erica. She just gave me slide control, and then on the bottom left-hand side of my screen, dang, I couldn't even get a chance. She took it away really quick, but you get the point. So you can have that. So maybe if someone's not comfortable managing their slides while they're presenting, then you can do that. So she just gave it back to me. So now I get to control my own slides. So then we get into in-meeting advanced. So this is some of those more advanced features, like we talked about breakout rooms. So I believe that is something that you have to turn on again in your settings. Closed captioning, which we talked about. So, if you have somebody that can transcribe the meeting while it's happening, that's available. Virtual backgrounds and video filters. So you can have the option, of course, to have a virtual background. You can upload your backgrounds there as well, and video filters. So definitely suggest going through settings and playing around with some of the things you may be interested in. Focus mode is cool because, we've got a lot of people in our meeting. Maybe you're concerned about people being distracted by what others are doing on their camera. So you can have the option to show just the host and the co-host. And this is also where you would turn on your live streaming options as well. All right, so recording is also going to be in settings. This is where you would want to ask yourself, what's the purpose of the recording? Local, meaning it would download to your computer. Cloud, meaning it will live in Zoom and you'll be able to access that. You also want to think about who's accessing it, because you can add some extra security features like they need a password and different things like that. And then just considering how secure does it need to be. So for example, we do a lot of work with youth. If we don't want anybody and everybody to be able to watch this Zoom that has youth on it, then we can put those passwords on, and only the people who have been given the link and the password would be able to access those recordings. All right, now we get into live streaming, which is fun stuff. So if you go to your toolbar, you'll see the more options if you're a host, and this is where this would pop up if you choose live streaming. So you can go live on Facebook, Workplace, which I know Matt has. I know probably some other businesses have Workplace by Facebook. You can go live on YouTube, Twitch, and then there's also custom streaming services. So again, you'll find this under more, and you will have to be the admin on the account that you're streaming to. So for example, I'm the admin on Mad California's Facebook. So that means if they want to stream live to our Facebook, they have to have me on the Zoom in order to do that for them. Next slide. So once you click live stream to Facebook, this is what will pop up. So you'll see live stream Zoom meeting to Facebook Live. And so it'll show that the Facebook account that you're connected to. I technically have two. This is my personal professional MAD account. So if it was accidentally logged into my other account, then I would want to switch that. Again, you can change the title, you can put the description, and then choose where you want to post it. So it can be on your personal timeline, if I wanted to put it on my personal page, or to a page that I manage. So meaning Mad California. I know Jen is obviously an admin on the South Bay Prevention Facebook, and that's how she shares these as well. Or if you're part of a group, you can share to those groups. Michelle, you have a question?
Yeah, you represent the organization MAD. Does Facebook automatically approve you to use Facebook to do live streaming? Is it are you legally allowed to do that automatically, or do you have to get approval from Facebook?
Not necessarily. So anybody can create a page. Like I could be any Yahoo that technically doesn't work for MAD. I could create a page that says MAD, and there would be no issue there unless MAD probably found it and they're like, hey, they were going to regulate. But the way our organization is set up, our national department does have control of all the local Facebook pages. So they did have to make me an admin and give me those certain permissions. Okay, any other questions? All right, so once you select where you want to share, you're going to go ahead and click that Go Live button, and then this picture would pop up. So it'll tell you it's setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. So after a few seconds, it'll pop up and you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So as you all have gotten this message before, you see there on the right, this meeting is being live streamed. So at any point, if you talk, you're going to be popping up on the live stream. So that's why they give you that message. If you absolutely don't want to be on Facebook, then you can leave, or you just say got it and accept that you might be on the Zoom, or you can always turn on your camera off. And then the other page that will show up is your Zoom on Facebook. So you can see it the way other people are viewing it. You'll be able to see how many people have joined. People can do reactions. And so it's always good to have someone who can monitor the live stream, just in case maybe questions are coming through online, as opposed to them being in the Zoom. I think
this is Jen. Can I also add something, just a note about Facebook Live? If you, as you're streaming, if you're the person that's streaming, the host, and you're streaming, then your view within Zoom is what people are going to see. So if there are no slides being shown and you have it set, your view is set at gallery view, then they're going to see every person in gallery view. If you have it set at speaker view, then they're only going to see whomever's talking at the time. So be mindful of that as well, because I know sometimes it happened to us early on in particular, where we I didn't realize that it was on gallery view, and that's what folks were seeing on Facebook Live. And so that's one of the reasons why after I set up Facebook Live, most oftentimes I'll open Facebook on my phone to see what the stream looks like.
Yeah, that's a good comment. Thanks, Jen. And just a reminder, to change your view, you go up to the top right-hand corner, you'll see the little view box, and you can change from gallery to speaker. And it shows side by side because we are sharing a presentation right now. So I switched mine to speaker view. I can see the slides, and then Jen's head is on the side there. So right now they would only be seeing Jen. And I think we have a question in the chat. Does the video on Facebook autosave? Yes, it does. And the cool thing about it is you can actually download it from your Facebook as well, if you are the admin on that account. So technically, if you wanted this recording, Jen could, if we're allowing that, not to sign you up for anything, Jen could download it from her Facebook and upload that somewhere.
Yeah, and the other thing too is when it comes to the auto saving of the video or you streaming it, you can always go in and make edits as well in the caption area. With streaming via Facebook, you can also incorporate polls via Facebook. So that's something you have to go in. It's more technical. We aren't going to get into that, but you can definitely Google it and see how to do it. And Melissa did answer yes, but for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, another question was, will the Facebook Live video be in your video tab? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I will say that they made live streaming much more simplified. There were a lot of other things you had to like edit first before you could go live. Now just go live, put the title, and like Jen said, you can always edit those things afterwards, which is what I tend to do. In the moment, you just want to get it up there with the title. And then I usually go back and like tag people who are involved and update any additional details that are needed.
And I'll say one more thing about that. When you're streaming on Facebook, you have the ability to cross share or cross post. And I think that's really cool because we have done a lot of different events in partnership with folks, and they will just give us administrative access to their page initially, or like some of the coalitions where we already have administrative access, we've been able to cross post to all of those different Facebook pages. So anybody who is connected to any one of those Facebook pages could actually watch the live stream, get the information, and even share it with folks in their network.
All right. I think that is all for live streaming. We did want to keep in the custom service. This is probably pretty rare if you're already not streaming to Facebook regularly. I've had it to the point where if you're working with somebody else and this is what they use, they can give you this information so that you can stream onto your Facebook. So there's a lot of different options out there, but yeah, like Jen said, just look into what works best. I think Facebook and YouTube is probably the most common.
All right, so now we're going to talk about customizing a waiting room. This is our final piece of the day. I'm excited to talk about this because when we saw it, we were like, what? It was super awesome and exciting to know that this was a possibility. So you do have the ability to customize your waiting room. So for those of you who joined at the beginning prior to us removing or disabling the waiting room, you were in a waiting room. Most of us have been in a virtual waiting room via Zoom. And so, you know, there's like that wall, that white screen, and then it may say waiting for the host to start the meeting. You might see that little box, but then once they join, then you get the bigger box. And so the host has the ability to let you into the room. Now, Melissa went over the settings. You have to change this feature in your settings. So if you want to do a customized waiting room, you have to make sure you go into your settings first and you change it. You're going to click customize waiting room. You see where the arrow is pointing, you're going to click customize waiting room, and that will provide an option for you to customize it. Now you see on this next slide, it has a title area, so you have the ability to put some kind of title in there. So a generic one is the host will let you in soon, but you could say welcome, or today is a bright sunny day, or my favorite snack is Doritos. You can put whatever in that title area. Under that, you see it says participants in waiting room will see. So either they're going to see the default screen, which is what you're currently looking at in the picture on the right, or you could add a logo and a description. So when people are in your waiting room, they will see that. Or something super cool, you can add a video. And when you add a video, this provides an opportunity for folks who are coming to your meeting to be able to get a welcome video from you. It could be an educational video from you. It could be any kind of video that you want it to be. My suggestion, our suggestion is to have videos that are going to connect with whatever it is that you're talking about, or a welcome video from the folks who are hosting, or whatever the case may be. So we have added a video for you all in the waiting room. And so what we're going to do is move you into the waiting room for 1 minute. So don't jump off. We're going to put you there for 1 minute. And when you go into the waiting room, we want you to play the video. You'll be able to listen to the sound on there and have the ability to see what video we decided to add. And then you can see what that would look like if you are inviting folks to come in. So with that, I'm going to ask Erica and Melissa to help me move folks into the waiting room. And you'll only be in there for a minute, and then we'll take the waiting room off. So we're going to start moving folks now. So this way you have an opportunity to see what we're talking about with the video. And again, you're going to be in there briefly, so you don't have to worry about being in there for a very long time. All right. So we have a few more people to put in there, and we'll get them going so you can see what the video looks like. And then we'll let you all in a second. And for those of you watching on Facebook Live, unfortunately, you won't have the ability to see what that waiting room video looks like. However, you can definitely try it on your own when you are hosting some form of meeting or something like that, to provide an opportunity for your participants to see it. So we'll give it a few more seconds for folks, and then we'll allow them to come in. And the video that they're viewing is actually called Nuggets. So if you go on to YouTube, you can type in the search bar Nuggets, and then you're going to see a video of this kiwi bird, and it's depicting addiction. And so since we focus primarily on substance abuse prevention and treatment services, we wanted to provide that information. So with that, I'm going to disable the waiting room, and then we can allow everyone to come back in, and we're going to wrap up for the day. All right, so we have people coming back into the space. All right, so let's get a couple people before we take questions. Let us know how that was for you. Was that cool or no? Did you see something? Edwina said you didn't see the video. Did other folks see it?
I didn't see anything either.
I didn't see the video.
No way.
I did not see the video either.
Okay, so that is so like weird. So this is what we're gonna do. Let's take some questions, and then we're gonna jump off, and then we're gonna restart this room. So you're just gonna click the same link to get back into this space that you received in your email. So then that way you can see the video. And then once you see the video, feel free to just jump off. Okay, Edwina said you thought it was you. I apologize. I don't know why that didn't work, but it's possible because I added the video during the meeting, so maybe, and turned on the function. Because, oh, the other thing I want to mention too about adding the video, once you put a video, it's going to stay there unless you go back into your settings and change the settings to either turn the video, turn off the capability for having the video, or removing that video and putting a different video. So if you choose to use a video, you'll need to change the video. If you want to use a video each time, you're either going to need to change the video to whatever you want it to be, or it can be the exact same video every single time. So it's really up to you.
I have a question about the video. So when people come into the waiting room at different times, does it start playing when each person comes in, or are they
Yep.
coming in and it's already playing?
Nope. So
Just
right
like
when
for
you
you.
enter, that's when the video will start playing. The other thing too is you're going to continue, the video is going to play through its entirety until you get let into the main space, the main Zoom space. So the video we have up right now, I believe is like a 5-minute video, but you could have a shorter video. It can just be something for people to view while they're waiting or whatever the case may be.
What if they get let in the waiting room and they say, wait, we're not finished with the video. We want to go back to the waiting room.
That's something you would have to figure out. If you want to allow people time for that, you could always put them
Yeah.
back into the waiting room. Or if, depending on what the video is, maybe if so many people are interested, you could just play the video while everyone's in Zoom so they can see it, and then move on with whatever it is that you're trying to do, or provide a link for them to watch it later. Yeah, other questions that folks have? All right, so seeing none, we're going to move to our final slides. This one focuses on what we'll be covering next week. So next week is our final session. So we are going to talk, focus on webinar. Everyone is going to enter in webinar mode, okay? So we will probably, because we get this a lot, get text messages. We've even gotten phone calls, emails, folks who put in the chat box, I can't see other people. That's because you're in webinar mode. And so don't be alarmed. It's just the way the features are. But what we're going to do is have an opportunity to move you up as panelists so you can see what a panelist view would look like. We'll be able to show you what it looks like when you only allow people to speak. The cool thing about webinar is that folks don't have to be camera ready, because unless you're a panelist, right, or someone that they can see if you're up on the main stage. But if they're just watching the webinar, they don't have to be camera ready because they won't be shown. So that can be a really cool feature. But again, like we mentioned during part 1, it does cost additional money. And so you need to make sure you're prepared to pay that amount. And then we'll also be covering Zoom bombing. We have some pretty humorous stories to tell in regards to that, and really want to emphasize the security aspect and making sure that you keep yourself safe, your participants safe in this virtual space, because it's important. And so with that, we want to say thank you very much. Again, I want you all to see the video that is in the waiting room. So everybody's going to jump off. I'm going to end the meeting in the recording, the Facebook Live. And then what you're going to do is click on the link again. So then that way you can see what the waiting room video looks like. And then you can feel free to just jump off after you've viewed that, and you'll be good to go. So thank you. Thank you.